This is lemongrass and it will last for 1 year in your pantry. Let me show you how to harvest, prune, and preserve this wonderful herb. Lemongrass or Cymbopogon is a great perennial herb with medicinal benefits. There have been studies done that show that it can have antihypertensive, antioxidant, and also anti-inflammatory properties. It is native to tropical regions and thrives in warm climates. But if you live in a colder area, you can plant it in a container during the warmer months, and during the colder months, just bring the whole container inside. Today, we are going to harvest and prune my lemongrass at the same time and then preserve the harvested leaves so that they can last you up to a year in your pantry. What is the difference when it comes to harvesting and pruning a lemongrass plant? Harvesting involves selectively cutting individual stalks for culinary use, while pruning focuses on maintaining the overall health and shape of the plant. By pruning regularly, you can ensure to have a continuous supply of fresh, tender stalks for harvesting. Here's what you need to know about pruning lemongrass. First of all, the most important thing is timing. It is best to prune lemongrass in late winter or early spring before the new growth starts. I was supposed to prune my lemongrass before the winter set in, but I just didn't get a chance, so I decided to prune it early spring this year. This specific timing allows the plants to rejuvenate and to promote new healthy growth on the plant, especially during the growing season. Tools. You will need a sharp pair of garden scissors or pruning shears to make clean cuts without damaging the plant. I love using my Felco F6 pruning shears for most of my gardening work, and that's the one I'm going to use today. Also, please wear gloves during this prune because these leaves are really sharp and they can cause these deep paper cuts while you cut them. Even if you're going to cut lemongrass for harvesting, I would suggest to be very careful with the leaves. Removing old stalks. Begin by identifying the older, woodier stalks of the lemongrass plant. These will be thicker, tougher, and have a brownish color compared to the more tender, greener stalks. Use your shears to cut through these older stalks, and removing these older stalks will help the plant focus all its energies on promoting new growth, which is tender and tastes a lot better. Trimming fresh stalks. Next, I'm going to look for any damaged or discolored sections of the fresh stalks. On my specific plant, you can see that I have a lot of dried and dead leaves. I'm going to clean out all of those. I'm making sure that I make clean cuts just above the node. A node is a swollen area of the stalk. Regrowth. After pruning, you'll notice that new shoots emerge from the base of the plant. These shoots will develop as fresh, vibrant stalks over time. And with proper care and pruning, you can have an abundant harvest throughout the season. Preserving lemongrass. There are 3 main ways to preserve lemongrass. Method 1. This is a simpler method where you can leave cut lemongrass in your refrigerator section and it will last for about a month. I have also had it just stay in my refrigerator for about 2 to 3 months while I was traveling, and once I got back and I used it in teas, it tasted perfectly great. So it's not a herb that goes really bad even if it stays for a little longer time in the refrigerator. Method 2 is freezing. This is a convenient way to preserve lemongrass, especially if you're going to be using it for soups. First of all, begin by cleaning the stalks and remove any dirt or debris from them. Then you can either chop them into pieces of your desired length, or I actually like to make these bundles consisting of about 3 to 4 stalks. Once I defrost them from the freezer, they will last me for a week or 2 in the refrigerator while I use it in cooking or tea. You can place the cleaned lemongrass into an airtight container or freezer-safe bags, removing as much air as possible from the bags. Label the container or the bag with your date and pop it in the freezer. Frozen lemongrass can last up to 6 months. The third method is air drying. This is a more traditional method which removes water from the lemongrass and allows it to be stored for extended period of time while retaining its flavor. I'm trimming off the leaves and root ends. I'm arranging these washed cut leaves on kitchen towels and spreading them out for increased air circulation. I air dried them for about 4 to 5 days. Once they are dry, up to the point of the leaves feeling crispy and breaking off easily, that is the time I pasteurize them. Now, pasteurization is an important part of preserving the herbs for a longer time because it will remove any insects or insect eggs that were in the herbs. Once I was air drying my calendulas and I had washed them and air dried them, I didn't see it at all, but after they were completely air dried, I started to see this insect poop on the bottom, and I found a huge caterpillar in midst of all the flower petals that were dried. So it's better to just make sure none of the insects are thriving in any of your preserved herbs. So how do you pasteurize a herb? I have pasteurized them by heating them in a 160-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 10 minutes. Just spread them out in a thin layer on different trays and just kept them in the oven. Once they were cool, I immediately packed them into containers and put them away for storage. Make sure you keep it away from moisture or light. As I mentioned earlier, this can last up to a year. I honestly go through it within about 4 to 5 months. It does not ever last me for a year. But if you don't use it as often in your cooking, you can definitely have it last up to a year. And if you're wondering what can you do with lemongrass, lemongrass can be used in teas, soups. One of my favorite ways to include lemongrass in my daily rituals is to make lemongrass ginger chai. Oh my gosh, it tastes absolutely divine and is an amazing way of integrating this herb in my day-to-day life. If you want to know the recipe for it, let me know in the comments below and I will be happy to post it for you. I love growing my own herbs, and one of my favorite herbs is also to grow basil. If you're wondering how to have an unlimited supply of basil, check out this video right here.